Welcome to another episode of our live stream, My Journey to the Trinity. My name is Hussein. Happy to be with you. Happy to be with me. Hope you're having a good um, day. And yeah, I saw an article in the New York Times, and I don't usually like their articles, and but this one was kind of interesting because it was about Jews across America and their reactions to Mamdani, who is very likely to be the next, hello, Abla, God bless you, very likely to be the next mayor of New York City. Lord help New York City. This guy has no experience in government. I mean, in, anything. It's a young kid, 33 years old. And so anyway, I I'm interested. I kind of feel like this article was fair in expressing the concerns of Jews in America, and it showed both sides of this. That this is a situation that is really dividing Jews. I think it's a typical left-wing narrative is in this article, but there's also, at least it presents both sides. And I don't know if it does it fairly, but it does do that. And so, anyway, I just kind of want to look at this article and see. Ah, okay, this article, it really raises some interesting questions. It says Mamdani's candidacy roils Jewish communities across the country. Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic candidate for mayor of New York City, has said he cannot support Israel as long as it is officially a Jewish state. More than 1,100 American rabbis are warning the safety of Jews is at risk. Interesting, okay. And the writer, I think, may be a Muslim. Her name is Jennifer Medina. Medina is, of course, a Muslim name. And let me see if she has anything more than 20 years. Southern California, covering region. Okay. She's born in Riverside. Okay. Okay. All right. Just to kind of get it. I mean, her name is kind of an Islamic name, Medina. Muhammad went to Medina. He was in Mecca and he went to Medina. And we know what happened when he went there. Hello, Demir. Bogte Blagoslovio. Hello. Yes, Medina is a city also. So, I mean, it's a popular word in America, Medina. There was that famous rap song, Funky Cold Medina, by that guy. I can't remember his name. But anyway, let's just read this together. Just kind of, what got me was it's called the first paragraph is called the lead. And this, I think that they did not shy away from pointing out exactly what the problem is with Mamdani. It says the controversy over Zohran Mamdani's criticism of Israel has moved well beyond New York City, where he is the frontrunner in the race for mayor and is roiling American Jews across the nation. While tensions have been simmering in New York for months, the debate over what Mamdani's ascent means for the future of Jews in American politics is now playing out in community centers, homes, congregations from Alabama to Albuquerque Houston to Highland Park, Illinois, and beyond. A recent letter signed by more than 1,100 rabbis across the country decrying the political normalization of anti-Zionism has pushed the debate into the synagogue pulpit as American Jews all over search the list of signatories to see if their rabbis did or did not sign. The letter cited Mr. Mamdani by name and warned that the safety and dignity of Jews in every city depends on electing candidates who accept Israel as a cornerstone of Jewish identity. Now, it's obvious that Mamdani does not accept it. In fact, he has threatened to arrest Netanyahu if he comes to New York. And so obviously he hasn't accepted Israel as a Jewish state. He says he believes in it as a state with equal rights for all its citizens. And I agree with him. You do want to have equal rights for all citizens. And I think that Israel does better at that than any of the Muslim countries in the world. Now, excuse me here, I was looking at something here. So let's just continue reading this. In response, a coalition of left-wing American Jewish groups critical of Israel released its own letter rejecting the attempts by legacy Jewish institutions to silence progressive and anti-Zionist voices within the Jewish community. Another set of rabbis signed a third letter, noting that Islamophobia is also on the rise and Jewish safety cannot be built on Muslim vulnerability. Okay, that's an interesting view there, that Jewish safety cannot be built on Muslim vulnerability. I think is looking at it as if it's a kind of a one for one, like you can have one, not the other. The competing voices show how the New York City mayor's race has been a proxy for a broader debate about anti-Semitism, anti-Zionism, and the power of Jews in American politics that has intensified since the October 7th Hamas-led attack on Israel. The depth of the rift suggests that politics could be something of a litmus test within the country's largest, most established synagogues. And it raises questions about whether Jews who are critical of the Israeli government or support politicians who question U.S. support for Israel could be further alienated from traditional Jewish institutions. On Saturday, several days after he signed the letter warning about Mamdani, Philippe Goodman, a rabbi, rose to the pulpit in his Las Vegas synagogue and spoke about Jews who aligned themselves with Hitler before World War II in an attempt at self-preservation, arguing that he had to voice his views when he saw Jewish security under such grave threat. So here, I mean, this is pretty brave for the New York Times that they are actually saying there's people comparing what's happening in New York to Nazi Germany. I mean, that puts it out there so people can respond or at least think about it. So, and I do think that there's something demonic behind the scenes pushing the puppet strings. So we have been very intimidated over speaking about politics for the longest time, Rabbi Goodman said. The gloves have to come off now. He continued, if people have a problem with me saying that, They do not belong to the same space as me. Okay, and the intense focus on support for Israel and rising anti-Semitism marks a dramatic shift in the diagnosis. Central problem. For decades, Jewish institutions worried about the growing trend of intermarriage and were relentlessly focused on drawing in young people who are not already tied to synagogue life. The development worries leaders like Rabbi Rachel Nussbaum of Kavanah Cooperative, an independent Jewish congregation in Seattle, Commie Seattle. After decades of fixation over Jewish continuity and the fear that the next generation isn't going to be Jewish, now the Jewish community is cannibalizing itself. Yay. Very interesting perspective. She isn't alone in her own concern. Rabbi Shira Koch Epstein, the executive director of ATRA, the Center for Rabbinic Innovation, which works with clergy from all denominations, has heard from hundreds of rabbis in the past week concerned about creating more fractures in an already divided Jewish community. Rabbi Josh Fagelson, the president and CEO of Institute for Jewish Spirituality in New York, said the friction has provoked enormous anxiety. We have felt so at home in this country for most of our lifetimes. And it has been a profound shock to so many of us to realize that we can't necessarily take that feeling for granted. Sorry, you guys. In public and private messages with rabbis, he has promised to protect Jewish institutions amid rising anti-Semitic attacks in the city and has distanced himself from the phrase globalize the Intifada, which has been a call to violence against Jews. Here he is, safety and freedom for all, care, not corruption, Jews and racial economic justice. Elect a mayor we can trust. Okay, there he is. All right. The leading opponent, Andrew Cuomo, and Mr. Cuomo's allies have accused Mamdani of stoking flames of hatred against Jewish people. Mr. Mamdani's campaign declined to comment. The rabbi's letter did not explicitly support his opponents, Mr. Cuomo or the Republican, but it has sparked an outpouring of public statements, scrutiny, and condemnation. Jewish social media influencers are mounting campaigns shaming rabbis who declined to join this letter, which was organized by a group calling itself Organize the Jewish Majority. Others are applauding their leaders for resisting the pressure to sign. There has been a real inter-Judaism tribalism, and that seems to be only accelerating, said Rabbi Daniel Bogart, who leads the Center for Reform congregation in St. Louis, and signed the third letter urging Jews to work across differences. Okay. So, in the past 2 years, he said, his synagogue has lost a handful of congregants who did not think he was sufficiently supportive of Israel. But he added, we are gaining many more congregants who were morally disturbed by what they heard in other parts of the Jewish community. Rabbi Michael Siegel of Ansha Emet in Chicago signed the letter but decried the purity tests. Okay, prominent Jewish politicians. Um, Okay, prominent Jewish institutions, politicians, rabbis, and community leaders openly worry that the country is approaching levels of anti-Semitism reminiscent of 1930s Germany. Okay. All right, you guys, I just wanted to kind of show you. Sorry, you guys, I'm so tired. I'm falling asleep here. My blood sugar is sinking here. Um, yeah, and we're gonna see. I mean, it's looking like this guy is going to win, and so we just have to wait and see. And he seems to, yesterday I saw a commercial with what's his name? Let me see if I could find it here. Um, let me see if I can find it. And I'm not just saying, okay, um, just because he's a Muslim, he can't be mayor or anything like that. I'm not saying that, but I'm concerned about the stuff he's saying, and concerned that when he defends himself against some of this stuff, it doesn't seem like he's doing too much of he's not distancing himself too much from what he has said in the past and what he hasn't said, which a mayor must do. So anyway, we'll just have to wait and see, what happens, and just pray that something, it'd be great if that third guy, Kleza, if he or Klewa, that he would just drop out. That would be great because his votes will more than likely go to Andrew Cuomo, who is a scumbag, but he's better than Mamdani. So anyway, let's just wait and see what happens on just 1 second here. Just got to get my phone. 1 second. Okay. Let's just see what Grok has to say about this. How likely is it that Mamdani is going to win the New York mayor race?
Man, Zohran Mamdani's looking pretty strong right now. Polls have him up 10 to 25 points on Cuomo, with early voting already rolling. I'd say he's got a solid shot at winning, like 70% odds. But keep an eye out. New York's elections can swing wild on election day. You voting?
No, I'm not. I'm not in New York. But is there a possibility that he becomes another Hitler?
Whoa, that's a wild leap. Zero chance, seriously. Mamdani's a democratic socialist pushing for affordable housing and transit fixes, not some authoritarian nightmare. He's all about progressive policies and a messy democracy. No one's turning NYC into that kind of dystopia. Where'd that come from?
Well, he seems to support a lot of anti-Israeli rhetoric, which I think could lead to an increase in anti-Semitic attacks against Jews.
Look, I get where you're coming from. His strong criticism of Israel's policies on Palestine has definitely ruffled feathers and gotten labeled as anti-Israel rhetoric by some Jewish groups. even called out as potentially anti-Semitic by critics. But Mamdani himself draws a hard line. He's condemned anti-Semitism outright, pushed for more funding to fight hate crimes, and met with Jewish leaders to hear their stories. The debate's heated, but equating that to rising attacks, it's more about broader tensions than one guy's words sparking violence. NYC's got real issues with anti-Semitism, and he'd likely tackle them head-on as mayor. What specifically worries you most about his positions?
It seems like he's very flimsy and like he's talking out of both sides of his mouth, and that ultimately when push comes to shove, he might give in to the Islamists in New York City.
Fair concern. He's definitely walked a fine line, criticizing Israel while distancing from Hamas or any Islamist extremism, saying stuff like, "No one deserves rockets" back in college. Critics call him flip-floppy for not blasting BDS outright, or for those old fiery quotes. But he's pragmatic now, wants coalitions, not chaos. New York's Muslims aren't a monolith. Most just want better schools and jobs, not Sharia takeover. If anything, his DSA crew keeps him left of center, not bowing to radicals. Think he'd sell out to appease them?
I think he might.
I hear you. It's scary thinking about extremes creeping in, especially with how polarized everything is. But honestly, his record so far, he's lost allies over being too pro-Palestine for some, not the other way around. If he were pandering to Islamists, you'd see fiery mosque rallies, not him begging precinct captains for endorsements. He's ambitious, sure. Maybe that'll make him cautious, not cowardly. Want me to dig into his voting history on hate crime bills or something?
I think the greater concern is that he would.
Well, if he did cave, it'd cost him New York's too diverse, too loud. He'd lose Jewish voters, Latino voters, moderate Muslims. Even his DSA base wouldn't stomach real extremism. He's polling well because people see him as pragmatic left, not puppet. But hey, I'm not infallible. If something shifts post-election, we'll know pretty quick. For now, though, odds are he'll govern like the guy who wants rent freezes, not revolutions.
All right, thank you.
No problem. Sleep well.
Well, you guys, I go. Hello, Yosef. How are you? Are you Jewish, Yosef? Or are you Arabic? If you'd like to come on, if you are Jewish or Arab, you are welcome to. Okay. All right, you guys. Well, let's just take a look real quickly at what's that guy named Patinkin? Mandy Patinkin. He did a commercial for Mamdani. Okay, let's look at this. And you guys, I don't want to 100% say that he's going to be anti-Semitic or that he's going to be anti-Jewish. He's been pretty honest about his support for Islamist statements, etc. So we give him the benefit of the doubt on that. But I think we also have to be honest and look at some of the stuff that's
going to win this because we have this extraordinary human being who is going to lead our city and eventually, if we're really thinking, our nation and the world to a better, safer, all-inclusive existence. And that's what I love about this guy.
So please head on over to Zahra.
We're going to win this because we have this extraordinary human being who is going to lead our city and eventually, if we're really thinking, our nation and the world.
Right. Well, 100% anti-Islam. All right. God bless you. Lord bless you, Joseph. It's great to see you here. And yeah, that's the way it is. We're anti-Islam, but pro-Muslims. We love the Muslims, but we're anti the philosophy, the theology, supposed theology that leads people away from the true Jesus Christ and the true Holy Spirit and the true God. Islam has their own versions of these, but they're all wrong. So, and they lead people to hell. So, here's a good song channel that our sister Abla, is putting up there. And then also we have our link to the GoFundMe page that my wife set up. So if you'd like to go help, this is in order to help the Christians in Nigeria, where they're being being persecuted for being Christians, sometimes being killed. It's real. It's out there. So God bless you, LA Apologetics. God bless you. Okay, saying look at something here. Okay, guys, I think I'm kind of falling out here. So I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. Thank you for being with us. If you haven't done it, please do it now. Oh, just one more thing. Let me just check one more thing before we leave here. Let's see. Nope, doesn't look like there's anything new here. And in Israel, doesn't look like there's any. All right, you guys, thank you for being with us, and you have a good